So when did you start working on Beowulf?
Oh, well, I'm going to date myself here. Um, I got the idea. Well, I knew Beowulf as a child. I mean, I knew it in modern English translation, but the idea that it could be performed uh, came to me in the early '80s. So the germ for this project was planted in 1981. I met a scholar who was working on the idea of Beowulf having a melody, but it was a very theoretical thing. In 1982, I really determined that it could be done, and I spoke with a harp maker in Vermont who agreed to make an instrument for me. And then I started workshopping smaller texts and a little bit of Beowulf throughout the mid 80s. And then I got a commission from a festival in the Netherlands to do a whole evening of Beowulf in, I think it was 1990. And that's when I really started doing it as a performance. It was shorter. I've expanded it in the meantime. And then in the year 2000, I began using video projection of the translation, and that really helped enormously because people were following along in a printed
Right.
text, and it's just more than
Yeah.
they could handle. But with the video titles, it's really made it easier for everybody. So in the meantime, I have video titles in 9 or 10 languages
Hmm.
so that I can perform it in any country where there's a translation available.
That's
And
great.
most languages have Beowulf translations available.
Hmm. So in the course of those few decades, how in broad strokes, how would you say your approach has changed, or how has it developed? Your since you've been continually working on this.
Yeah, that's interesting because if I listen to a recording from long ago, I'm gritting my teeth and I'm ready for the worst. This is probably going to be embarrassing. And it turns out uh, all of the ideas were there, they just weren't realized very clearly. So I think over the years, what's happened is I've become clearer in my intentions in the performance, and I've relaxed into the piece much more. It's become more mine, and it's not something I'm um, trying to interpret. It's just part of who I am, and that's what I do. And so it's much less dramatic. It's much more. This is what I was put on this planet to do, and so I do it. And it's less drama. It's not so much like a concert that one gets nervous about. It's just somebody says, "Let's hear Beowulf," and I say, "Okay," and tune up the harp, and away we go. And it's become less complicated um, as I get on in years. I hope I'll be able to keep doing it for a while yet, but there certainly has been an evolution since the '80s when I started doing it. Because in the '80s, I was really trying very, very hard all the time and putting an enormous amount of energy into everything, and probably dissipating a lot of energy or just not using it in a really harmonious way. I like to think I've improved in that on that level at least
Sure.
over the years.
No, I meant to say this before. This seeing you perform was really my first experience of Beowulf, other than reading a couple of the little excerpts in a class in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just a great. I was really happy
Mm-hmm.
to have that be my first experience. At least I guess you didn't do the whole thing.
Oh
You
no, I
did
did
basically the Grendel part.
yeah, I did the first third of the epic, so
Yeah.
up until the celebrations after the death of Grendel. Then comes
And
an
have you done the whole thing?
no. There was a plan to do that almost 20 years ago, but it would have required 3 or 4 years of my life just studying only that, and we were trying to find co-commissioners who would help me to do that so that I could prepare the performance because it would be a 5-hour performance.
Right.
But the problem is most concert presenters couldn't wrap their minds around programming something that lasts 5 hours.
Right.
That's not a Wagner opera, and
Right.
they just they couldn't quite see how they could get an audience to come and sit down for such a long thing.
Well, it would have to involve, having a chicken leg,
Yeah,
available for
yeah,
somebody to chew on
or
or
mead, a lot of
something.
mead. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Well, we immediately after we left your performance, we immediately went to the wine store, which was still open, and bought some mead. It
very
didn't really taste
no
like
modern
correct.
mead's not what it used to be.
It was pretty weak stuff,
Yeah.
um, but anyway, we had to do it.